So if you want to sit on that blanket or the pillow, go ahead and sit on that to elevate your hips and lengthen up through your spine. So you can sit cross-legged. This is called Sukhasana, your easy cross-legged seat. And then you want to try to slide your sit bones back and lengthen up through your spine. Let's rest the hands on the thighs, close your eyes. And start to tune into your breath. Okay, so we want to breathe in and out through your nose. So just take these next few moments to transition from your day into this practice, into presence here. So you're watching your breath move in through your nose and draw down into your belly. And then watch your breath flow from your belly up and out through your nose. Okay, so do that a few times. We all have a different breath rhythm, lung capacity. So find your own rhythm. And as you're breathing here, sort of feel into your body. So you feel your sit bones settling and your spine growing tall, your shoulders drawing back. So there's this balance of feeling steady in your seat, but also there's a sense of ease. And as you're drawing the breath into your belly, feel your belly expand. And then as you're exhaling, feel your belly draw to your spine. So we're really using our diaphragm here. The diaphragm presses down as you inhale. Belly expands. And then the diaphragm draws up under your rib cage. Belly draws to the spine as you exhale. Okay, let's take one more round of breath here together. You want to pay attention to your breath as we start to move our bodies. Okay, so use the same full breath. Before we move, bring your hands to your heart. Anjali Mudra, this is our gesture of honoring. And close your eyes, bow your head toward your heart. Set an intention or make an offering of your practice this evening. And may this time on the mat of mindful movement be a blessing to others. May we pass it forward to have more compassion, empathy for those who are suffering. May we make tangible contributions in all ways that we can. Especially to India right now, where there's so many people suffering. And keep your hands at your heart. We're going to share the sound of Om together to start our practice and then at the end of the practice. And the Om is the primordial sound of the universe. It's the thread that we all live on. It's the unmanifest brought into the manifest. And it's what connects us to one another. So you'll take an inhale breath and on the exhale we'll chant Om. Okay, so I'll guide you through that. I'm going to bring in the sound of the harmonium. And you'll take a nice deep breath in all the way from your toes up through your belly to your chest. Exhale out. And we'll stay in this seat a bit longer. So if you'd like to switch the cross of your legs, go ahead and switch the cross of your legs. On your next breath in, take your arms out and up. Reach up and look up. Exhale, gather your hands and draw them back through your center. Let's do that twice more. Inhale, reach up and look up. Exhale, hands back through center. One more time, breathing in and breathing out. And you're going to take your arms back, open up your chest. So make like, we call these cactus arms, bend your elbows. So here you're extending your spine, a little bit of a back bend. And then as you exhale, you take your arms forward and round your spine, a little bit of a forward bend. And then inhale again, open up, bend your elbows, lift your chest. Exhale, round your spine. So you're doing a little bit of rocking on your pelvis too. And start to feel your breath surrounding your movement. Inhale, opening your chest. When your exhale begins, around your spine. Okay, let's take 2 more. Waking up your chest and your upper back, moving out any congestion or tightness that might be lingering. Good, and then come back through center. We're going to twist over to the right. So take your right hand behind you and your left hand to your right knee and lengthen up through your spine. And keep that sense of rooting through your sit bones as you stay tall up through the crown of your head. Feel that expanse, like when we took the inhale from the toes to the belly to the chest. Feel that expanse up through the crown of your head. And then back through center over to your other side. And you don't want to lean into that back hand, so make sure it's light. And draw energy up from your toes, so your legs, belly, chest, out through the crown of your head. And then come back through center. And let's come on to all fours. So if you have sensitive knees, you might unfurl your blanket and take it right under your knees. Okay, you'll set your hands right under your shoulders, spread your fingers wide, your knees are under your hips. And then we'll take that same kind of movement we did seated, where we were extending our spine. Here's cow pose, inhale. And then round your spine, cat pose as you exhale. Okay, so inhale, back bend, slide your heart forward. Exhale, forward bend, breathe into the back of your heart. And again, connecting movement with breath. Pressing the ground away so your arms are strong. Okay, take one more round here. Inhale, back bending. Exhale, more into a forward bend. And then a neutral spine. You're going to walk your arms forward. Keep your hips high. Here's heart melting pose. You're going to melt your chest down toward the ground. Rest your forehead. If it doesn't touch the ground, grab your blanket or your pillow and bring that under your head. You can widen your knees. Just want to keep your hips reaching up and back. And here again, you're extending your spine. Roll your inner arms in and up toward the sky. One more breath. Now carefully lift your head, walk your hands back in under your shoulders. And then take your right arm out and up to the sky. I feel like you want to stack your shoulders here. Roll through your wrist, wiggle your fingers. And then exhale, let's scoop this right arm under your chest and bring your right temple down toward the ground. Stretch your left arm forward. So we call this reaching under the bed pose. Keep your hips reaching up and back. Extend through your spine, out through your fingertips. And then slide your left hand back in, push yourself up. Come back to a neutral spine, and then we'll do the other side. Lift your left arm out and up as you inhale. Roll through your wrists, wiggle your fingers. Try to stack your shoulders, and then exhale. Scoop your left arm under your chest. Bring your left temple down, and stretch your right arm forward. Hips reaching up and back. Reach all the way out through your right fingertips. Slide your right hand back in and we'll press back up all fours. From here, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So you'll tuck your toes, spread your fingers, lift your knees, let them hover just for a moment. Keep pressing the floor away. And then you want to lift your hips up and back. Lengthen through your spine. Let your head drop heavy. Pedal out through your heels a bit. Lift one heel, bend one knee as you straighten the other. And take another breath. And let your head hang right between your arms. And then lower back to your knees. And then come into child's pose. So you'll send your hips back toward your heels, belly on your thighs, or even between your thighs. You can take your knees wide and then rest your forehead down toward the ground. This is a really nice stretch for the back of your hips, your lower back. And then slide your hands in. We're going to come up onto the knees. You can keep your blanket or move it out of your way. And then we'll come into Bharadvadrasana pose. So what you're going to do here is send your feet over to the left and then have a seat. Okay? And then take your right knee wide. So your right knee is drawing out to the right and you're in like a half hero's pose. You're drawing your left foot back to the outer hip. Okay, and then so if you're falling kind of to the right, you might slide your blanket under your right sit bone, and that'll help level your hips, drop your left hip down. Okay, and if this bothers your knee, then stretch your left leg out. Okay, so Bharadvadrasana, it's a sage, Bharadvadra. We're going to twist over to the right. Okay, so take your left hand over to your right knee, lengthen up through your spine. So similar like we did seated earlier, looking over your back shoulder. And then keep the twist, but turn your head, look over your left shoulder, and then drop your left ear toward your left shoulder. So feel that nice stretch through the right side of your neck, top of your right shoulder. Maybe even move your chin a little bit. Nod your head yes. Even a little shake no. We'll take another breath. Inhale, bring your head back up. So we're going to come back to all fours. Okay, so walk your knees back into your hips and then slide your hands back so you're standing on your shins, on your knees. You're going to reach your arms up as you inhale, and then as you exhale, bend your elbows as we did earlier and sit your hips back like you're going to sit on your heels, but don't. And then inhale, come back up. So keep your belly strong. Exhale, imagine you're going to sit back on your heels. Do that one more time. Inhale. And exhale. Bring your hands back down and then swing your legs over to the right side. So Bharadvadra, twist again, slide your left knee out, okay? And then your right leg is in a half virasana or a half hero's pose. So the foot is right next to the outer hip. Again, if this bothers your knee, just stretch your right leg out, okay? And then we'll twist over to the left. Take your right hand to your left knee and your left hand back behind you. Try to anchor down through your sit bones and expand up through the crown of your head. Look right over that back shoulder. I'm going to bring your awareness back into your breath. You can even close your eyes in this seated shape, in any shape that you want that we do tonight. Feel free to close your eyes. You can really tune into sensation. Get out of your head into your body. So you're going to keep the twist, but look over your right shoulder and then drop your ear down and lengthen through the left side of your neck, top of your left shoulder. Relax your jaw, space between your eyebrows, your cheeks. Maybe a little movement through your chin, finding that sweet spot to stretch. And then bring your head back up. And one more time back to all fours. And we'll take that same movement. You're gonna walk your hands back, stand on your shins, reach up as you inhale, always moving with your breath. Bend your elbows, exhale. Imagine like you wanna sit down onto your heels. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, hips back toward your heels. One more time. Find length through your side body. Exhale. Bring your hands back to the ground, cow pose, breathing in. Tuck your toes, hover your knees off the ground so you're pressing the floor away, tone your belly, and then lift your hips up, send them back, downward facing dog. Again, find some movement if you'd like. You might pedal through your heels, straighten one leg as you bend the other. And then find plank pose from here. So plank pose is a high push-up pose. Firm up your legs and your belly and press the ground away. Lift the back of the head in line with your spine, and let's lower your knees. We'll come all the way to your belly. Okay, so bend your elbows behind you. Keep your chest open. Lower all the way down. Stretch your legs back. Okay, so you're on the tops of your feet. Bring your fingertips off of your mat. So you're on your fingertips, your elbows point up toward the sky. Keep stretching your legs back. You're gonna curl up into a back bend. Inhale. Exhale, come about halfway down and look under your right arm. Inhale, come back up. Keep your legs really strong here. Exhale, come about halfway down, look under your left arm. So let's do that one more time on each side. Inhale, come up. Keep your legs strong. Press into the tops of your feet. Look under your right shoulder. Exhale. Inhale, come up. And look under your left shoulder as you exhale. Inhale one more time. Rise on up. Exhale, lower all the way to the mat. Slide your hands under your shoulders. And then press your way up and back, child's pose. So knees together or knees wide. Hips down towards your heels, belly on or between your thighs, and stretch your arms forward. Rest your head. Maybe rock a little bit side to side. Take a deep breath. Slide your hands in. Come to sit on your heels. Take a twist over to the right. So left hand crosses, right hand goes back behind you. Lengthen through your spine, and then exhale, twist over to the left. Left hand back. Go ahead, lengthen up through your spine. Now keep your left fingertips where they are and sweep your right fingertips back behind you. So all 10 fingertips, maybe not your thumbs, maybe, but all of your fingertips are on the ground, and then lift your heart up toward the sky. A little back bend here. Squeeze your shoulder blades toward each other. Keep your belly strong. And then come on up. We're gonna take our hands over to the left side of our mat and step your right foot wide. So we'll come into a lizard lunge. So your hands, walk them right under your shoulders. Okay, and your right foot is wide. And then you can rock yourself forward and back a little bit to loosen up your hips. It's a really great one for your hip flexors on this left side. I'm going to take a little movement there. Forward and back. And then come back forward, pause in lizard pose. Keep hugging your inner thighs toward each other here in this pose and lift your chest. One more round of your breath. Lift your hips up and take your right leg back. Come back and sit on your heels, and then we'll twist to the left first this time. So over to the left, lengthen up. Deep breath, fill your belly and your chest. And then over to the right side. Deep breath in to lengthen and lift. Exhale to deepen your twist. Now keep your right fingertips where they are and sweep your left fingertips back. So same thing, you lift your chest here. If you can, you want to go a little deeper, you can lift your hips. So moving toward camel pose, a variation. Lower your hips if you lifted them, and then come forward. Let's do the other side of lizard. So walk your hands to this right side of your mat so you can step your left foot wide. Have your hands down on the ground. Engage your legs. So there's your inhale, and then you might just start to move forward and back. Working out any stiffness here through your hips, through your hamstrings. Moving your body helps to sweep away that tightness, the tension, and of course make sure you're breathing well in and out through your nose. Once you come back to lizard, you're ready to pause, stay, so a few more breaths. Hugging your inner thighs toward each other. Drawing your right knee towards your left heel towards your right knee. Lengthen your spine. And lift your hips up and back. Bring your left knee back. You're going to slide your hands in towards your knees. Let's stand on the shins again and come into more of a camel shape here. So you're going to reach your arms up. Exhale, bring your hands to your lower back and press your hips forward as you lift your heart up. Okay, so your thighs are strong. Open up through the front of your hips, through your belly, and lift up through your chest. You might even look up. Use your core, lift your shoulders and your head back up, and then slide your hands forward, downward facing dog. Lift your knees, maybe hover a moment, and then lift your hips. Moving, if you'd like here, bending one knee as you straighten the other. And then one more time through that vinyasa, we call it. Movement with breath. You're gonna float into plank, that high push-up. Hold for a moment, press the ground away, wake up your whole body here. It's alive with energy, with breath. Lower your knees. Inhale here. Exhale again. Point your elbows behind you and lower to your belly. Extend your legs back. Bring your fingertips off of your mat. Point your elbows to the sky. Legs strong as you roll up. Just one rolling cobra here. Inhale. Exhale and roll on down. Hands under your shoulders. Press up and back. Child's pose again. Knees together or knees wide. Rounding your spine, folding over your legs. Take one more breath. And then up to all fours. So here's that pigeon pose, hip stretch. You're gonna take your right knee to the outside of your right wrist. And then you're gonna tuck your back toes. Send your back leg further back so you part your upper inner thighs. You might slide your blanket right under that right hip. So again, we wanna level out the hips. Okay, so if this pose bothers your knee at all, then you'll come onto your back and take figure four. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. And then we'll do a couple of seated poses after pigeon. So you can just meet us up there if you decide to do the reclined variation, okay? So nice long spine, and then when you're ready, if you're in pigeon, if you're in thread the needle, then just stay where you are. Pressing your right knee forward. If you're in pigeon, then go ahead and fold your way forward. Soften through your eyes. Soften through your cheeks, your jaw. Whether you're in pigeon or thread the needle, you're flexing your right foot. Feel a stretch through the inner thigh, outer right hip. And then when our hips release, our low back can release as well. You might close your eyes and imagine the subtle energy, the prana, the energy within moving freely or a little more free through this hip. And feel the nourishing qualities of your breath. nourishing every cell, every muscle, the tissues in your body. Not to mention softening, relaxing a busy mind, an overwhelmed heart. Okay, last breath here. Okay, so if you're in thread the needle, you may stay or you might watch this next pose. We're gonna, from pigeon, you're gonna come up and bring your hands up, fall over onto your right hip, and then slide your left knee forward. So we call these deer legs sometimes, or you're making 90-degree angles in your hips. So you can stay in your figure four for a few more breaths, or take deer pose. So if you're in deer pose, you're twisting again to the front, and then we're gonna see if we can fold forward. Okay, one more breath here. Okay, so if you are in figure four, slowly bring yourself up. Okay, and then deer pose, we're gonna open up to the left. So you're gonna have a seat. Your left leg is stretching out to the left and your right knee is stretching out to the right. Okay, and your heel is in toward your hip. Parvrita Janu Shirsasana, you're gonna lean over to your left and take your right arm up and over your head. Okay, and you can have your arm on the floor or on your pillow or maybe on your knee. So you're rooting through both sit bones, opening up through the side body here. Roll your chest to the right and up to the sky. Okay, take another breath. As you inhale, come on up, and then we'll come into stargazer pose, which is similar to a side plank. So you can bring your right hand down to the outside of your right hip, and then lift your hips up. So you're standing on your right knee and your left foot. Sweep your left arm up and over your left ear. And then bring your hips carefully back down, and then take your right leg out wide as well as your left. So you're in this wide leg seat. So Upavishta Konasana is the Sanskrit here. You can sit on a blanket or just stay on the ground. Firm up your legs. Engage the kneecaps. Draw them up towards your hips and flex your feet. Take your hands behind you. Take a breath in to lengthen. And then a breath out to fold. And you can fold, bring your forearms down perhaps, or maybe your hands are down. You stay up nice and high with a long spine. It's important to keep your legs strong and active, grounding your legs into the earth, keeping your feet flexed, making sure you can breathe well. Stretching open through your inner thighs, the whole inner seam of your legs here, and then ground your outer hips down. Okay, let's inhale, come on up. And then gather up your legs, draw them in toward each other. Bring your feet to the ground. Okay, and then take your hands behind you. Let's have your fingers face your hips and you're on your palms. Okay, so wrap your elbows in toward each other. Lift your chest like we did earlier, like the camel pose. And stay there or come into altar pose where you press into your hands and into your feet and lift your hips up. And then from there, lower your hips down. And then cross your ankles, and let's come back to all fours. So you're facing the top of your mat now. Child's pose, or maybe downward facing dog in between sides. And then come up all fours, pigeon on the other side. So left knee goes wide, tuck your back toes, send your back leg further back. Again, you might be doing figure four, or sometimes called thread the needle, where you lie on your back and cross your left ankle over your right knee. Okay. If you're falling to the left here in pigeon, prop up your hip with a blanket or your pillow. And then when you're ready, fold your way forward. Keep your left foot flexed, either shape that you're in. And take a few breaths here, a few moments here. So soften into your breath. Go back to watching your breath move in through your nose, down into your belly. Feel that expansive quality of your breath, and then exhale all the breath out through your nose. And again, closing your eyes might help you get out of your head and more into your body and tune into sensation, the language of your body. And know that you are moving energy, subtle energy, the prana, as you're breathing. The yogis say where your awareness goes, energy follows. Try to relax the space between your eyebrows, your cheeks, and your jaw. And if you are in the figure 4 shape on your back, stay, or you can come on up into deer pose with us. If you're in pigeon, you're gonna press down into your hands, lift your chest, fall over onto your left hip and slide your right knee up so that you're making right angles through your hips and your knees. You can flex your feet, okay? And then from there, see if you can fold forward, a couple of breaths. Try to draw your right hip back and down. Might give you some interesting sensation through the front of your right hip. And then go ahead and come on up and swing your right leg all the way over to the right. So your left knee is out to the left. And find your Parvrita Janushirasana. So your revolved head to knee pose. The right arm comes to your right leg, or maybe inside of the right leg, as your left arm lifts up and over your head. So you're looking for a lot of space through this left side of your body, left side of your heart. I'm going to spin your chest up toward the sky. And take another breath. And then inhale, come on up. And we'll take that stargazer pose. You'll take your left hand to the outside of your left hip and then sweep and lift your hips up. Stretch your right arm up and over your right ear. Find that space. Good, and then lower your hips down, and we'll take that Upavishta Konasana again. So stretch your left leg out. Take your hands back behind you and lift your chest. And then exhale, start to fold forward. You might come to your hands. You might lower to your forearms. Keep your legs strong and grounded, feet flexed. Another full breath here. And then slide your hands in, come on back up, use an inhale, then stay seated and come into Baddha Konasana, cobbler's pose. Draw the soles of your feet together, take your knees wide. And then rock a little on your sit bones, send them back, lift your heart up. And again, let's take the hands behind us, come to your fingertips, lift your chest. Drop your knees. And then stay. Sometimes it feels good just to stay here, find your back bend, and other times it feels good to fold. So you choose, stay seated or fold forward. And again, you can come to your hands or to your forearms. If you're folding forward, breathe into the back side of your body here, your lower back, back of your heart. And then slowly walk your hands in and sit back up if you came forward. We'll take one more of those altar poses. So you can bring your feet down to the ground. Take your hands behind you. Your fingers face your hips. Wrap your elbows in toward each other. Lift your chest into that camel pose. And you might stay here, or you press into your hands and your feet and lift your hips. Exhale and lower your hips down. Scoot your way forward onto your mat and then lower all the way to the ground. So once you come down, hug your knees into your chest. Okay, and then we'll take 3 circles going clockwise. Okay, so it's like you're drawing circles on the ceiling with your knees. Go clockwise first. Just about 3. And then go in the other direction 3 times. Massaging around through your lower back, back of your pelvis. And then coming back through center. You're gonna bring your left foot to the ground and take the sole of your right foot up toward the sky. Keep your right knee bent and then take your right knee out to the right. So half happy baby pose. So here you wanna grab on to your ankle with your right hand or your foot. And you want to draw your knee down toward the ground if you can and really stretch through the inner seam of your leg. So the knee toward the ground, not to the ground, unless your hips are very open. But we just want to open up through the inner thigh here without force. Try to ground your left hip, left ribs, left shoulder so you stay balanced. You might stay here or stretch your left leg out. See how that feels. It gives you more of a stretch through your left hip flexors, quadriceps. So you can relax your jaw. And then here we'll come into a reclined tree pose. Okay, so that means you're gonna take your right foot to your left inner thigh and just let the knee fall open as you lie on the ground here. Okay, just let the foot drop. So mine is actually closer to my knee, which is fine. So you're opening up through this inner right thigh again, through your hip flexors, let them soften. Let your head relax, shoulders relax. And then draw your knee back and point your knee up toward the sky. Shift your hips to the right so you can twist. Take your right knee over your body to the left. You might take your left hand on top of your right thigh and stretch your right arm out to the right. If you'd like, look to your right, heavy the shoulder. Breathe some space into your back. Again, wringing out any tension through your spine. Twists are great to relieve tightness through your spine as well as help with digestion. It gives the organs of digestion a little squeeze. Okay, so from here, instead of going back onto our back, we're gonna roll onto our belly. So you're gonna reach your right arm up to the sky. Listen carefully. Bring your right arm down. Send your right knee out to the right. So now you're on the front of your hips and your right knee's out to the right. Okay, so it's called a half frog pose, and we're just adding this little back bend sphinx just for a moment. And then once you find this pose, take another breath. And then keep the leg, but now stretch your left arm out and see if you can rest your head on your left arm. Okay, so it's kind of like you're in bed sleeping. You know, sometimes I bet you sleep like this. I do. If you're a belly sleeper and you take your right knee up, so just let it feel comfortable. Relax your low back muscles, QL, your quadratus lumborum, little band of muscles that attach from your pelvis to your low ribs on the back of your body. Okay, and another breath here. Okay, now you're going to roll back onto your back. So slide your right hand in and just make your way all the way onto your back, rolling to your right. So once you come to your mat, you're probably on the right side of your mat. So your whole body, keep it on the right side. Now anchor your hips and walk your feet over to the left. Okay, cross your ankles, arms over your head, walk them over to the left as well. Catch your right wrist with your left hand. So you're in like this banana shape. So there's a big arc through the right side of your body. It's one of those poses that it might feel like a lot. You might have a lot of sensation, or you might have a little. Just breathe into whatever is here. One more breath, a little bit longer through your right side. And then release the arms, bring them down, release your legs, walk yourself back to the right. So you can just pause. And we'll do it all on the other side. So when you're ready, scoot your way back to the center of your mat, bend both knees. Half happy baby, take your sole of your left foot up toward the sky and take your left knee out to the left. Catch somewhere on your leg, on your calf, your ankle, your foot. You want to try to draw the knee toward the ground. So open up your inner thigh. And so we don't need to force anything here. Just find a stretch. And then just so we are honest or we're not falling to the left, I want to anchor down through your right hip, your right ribs, and your right shoulder. Good, and then you could stay there, straighten out your right leg, which will change the sensations. See how that feels. And then a reclining tree pose. So you'll release your foot, your left foot, and bring the sole of the foot somewhere on the right leg, wherever it lands. And just let the left knee fall open. Your arms can rest by your sides. Very passive here. Heavy. Maybe there's a sense of surrender. And then point your left knee back up to the sky, and we'll take our twist. Hug your knee in, and then take it over. You might shift your hips left, and then take your left knee over to the right. Stretch your left arm out to the side. Maybe look over your left shoulder. Allow your body to relax more and more with each breath. Feel the expansion of your belly and your chest as you're breathing in. And feel your belly and your chest fall to the earth as you breathe out. Relax any space that feels tight or constricted here. Breathe into that space. Take another breath. And then you're going to lift your left arm up to the sky and roll onto your belly here. So slide your left knee out to the left. So again, you're opening up through the front of your left hip. Bring a little weight into your left hip. And keep sliding your knee out as much as you can. Stretch your right leg back, and then again, come onto your forearms, come into this back bend, this half frog sphinx pose. Find some length through the front of your spine. And then lower down, start to lean off to the left a bit. Stretch your right arm long and rest your head on your arm. Let your left arm be passive, relax. Left hip flexors, relax. And stretch through your low back on the right side. Breathe into the back of your ribs, back of your lungs. And then we'll slowly roll back onto our back. You can slide your left knee in and roll open to the left. And once again, you'll land on this left side of your mat now. Stretch your arms up and over your head. And then start to walk your legs over to the right. So we're making that banana shape through our body again. Then the arms go over to the right and catch your left wrist. Anchor down through your ankles, or your heels, through your hips, through your shoulders, through your wrists. Your head might fall to the right or to the left, whichever feels more relaxing. And feel this length through the left side of your body. Feel the space you're creating here. Dropping heavier with each breath. And see if you can visualize the length of your left side from your left pinky toe all the way up through your leg, your hip, side of your torso, underside of your arm, all the way to your left pinky finger. And let's take another breath here. And then you can release your arms and maybe come all the way back to the left side of your mat. And then you can shift yourself when you're ready back to the center of your mat. And take a moment here just to pause. Notice your left side, your right side, the front of your body, the back of your body. Notice the space you're in. Feel the air around your body. And slide the knees out wide and bring the soles of the feet together. So you're in Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclined cobbler's pose. Take one hand to your belly and one hand to your heart. And feel your breath into your left hand, or the hand on your belly. As you inhale, let the breath rise and fill the chest. Fill into that hand on your chest. And then exhale, belly, chest drop. Do that a few more times. Breathing into your hands. Mindful and present with each breath, with each moment. Letting these quiet moments here be an offering or blessing to others. After your next exhale, go ahead and stretch your body out for Shavasana. If there's any last little moving around you'd like to do, feel free before you stretch out into this shape. If you need a bolster under your knees or a blanket, please take that under your knees to support your back. If your chin is lifted high off the ground, then maybe you take a blanket under your head to lower the chin slightly. Feet fall open, palms face up, take up space here. You can begin to slowly deepen your breath. Bring more awareness to your body. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Roll your ankles and your wrists. With an inhale, you can stretch your arms over your head. Reach from your fingertips all the way to your toes. And then with an exhale, drop heavy again. Take your time, roll to one side. Use your arm as a pillow. And then make your way up to a comfortable seat with as little effort as possible. Sitting up tall, bring your hands to Anjali Mudra, our gesture of honoring. Come back to your offering, your intention for practice. And let's end with a loving kindness or metta prayer. Keeping your awareness in and around your heart. May all beings far and near be held in great loving kindness. May they be safe and protected. May they be healthy and strong. May they be happy. And we'll close our practice with one more bright Om together. Take a nice deep breath in. Thank you so much for joining me for practice. And if you're joining me live, thank you for the blessing of your company. May others as well benefit from our practice. Namaste.